Hello, and welcome to the Good News from the Corner podcast. I'm Jay, I'm your podcast host, and I'm also the rector at St. John's Episcopal Church in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm glad you found us. I'm glad you're here. Stay tuned for sermons, lectures, and more good news from the corner of Central and Greer.
There is a charming and ancient European custom called telling the bees. Beekeepers inform their bees about significant events in life, such as birth, deaths, marriages, and major occurrences. To tell the bees, the head of the household or the good wife would approach the hives and gently knock to get the bees' attention. And then they would softly murmur the news to them in a solemn tone. This ritual was believed to keep the bees informed and prevent them from leaving the hive or dying. This practice is believed to have its roots in Celtic mythology. And bees were believed to be the messengers between the human world and the spirit world. The presence of a bee after death was thought to signify the soul leaving the body. What a lovely metaphor for our relationship with God. God softly knocks on our hearts and softly murmurs to us. Do we hear God? Deep listening such as that demands that we be quiet and disciplined in our listening. Deep listening allows us glimpses into our preciousness as a child of God. Deep listening gives us glimpses into the kingdom of God. Deep listening is our center. It allows us a way into listening that our relationships become more intentional, more profound, and more meaningful. Listening, hearing, and being with another is essential to our well-being. It gives us our sense of identity and purpose, and these connections with one another and with God are vital to our very existence. Without deep listening, we're merely physical bodies moving about this world with no intention or purpose or connection to anyone or really anything. And we miss out on a lot. We miss the small nuances of relationships, like a small pat on the arm or smile or a nod. All of these things say to the other, I see you. You mean something to me. On this trip with Jesus, the disciples were certainly not doing very much listening. They were doing a whole lot of talking. I wonder what they missed out on when they were more worried about themselves, too busy arguing and jockeying for position to pay attention to Jesus, let alone hearing each other. Their talk is very self-serving. Their conversation is more focused on who is the best, who is the most deserving, and who does Jesus love most. When Jesus calls them out, they're silent. They're too embarrassed to admit that they had been arguing over who was the best. Of course, Jesus knows exactly what they were talking about, and he tries once again to teach them that the reign of God turns the world's idea of greatness upside down. There are many times when we too are talking when we should be listening. See, there really is a good reason why you were separated from your best friend in second grade, because you were talking too much. But how much do we miss by being absorbed in our own internal conversations and agendas? How much do we miss by abandoning the intentionality in our relationships? And what does it cost us? Deep listening. We dismiss a child's cry for help when they're acting out. We miss that our spouse or partner is distracted and unhappy. We miss the plea from our child that it is really, really important for you to show up at this t-ball game because you missed the last two. We miss when someone we love is drinking too much or is isolating from everyone they know and love. Our brains are so full of day-to-day tasks to be done that we can't absorb what we can concentrate on and what is right in front of us because of these ongoing, never-ending conversations in our heads. Because of that, it's impossible to listen to anything else. And we react rather than respond. For reactions are quick thoughts and actions without intention, often a knee-jerk reaction to something. Now, this is not a condemnation. It is a consequence of how we live our lives. A response requires deep listening with our whole being, which is extraordinary. Extraordinary means out of the norm and away from the status quo. Deep listening is part of our spiritual pursuit. We listen for God's presence. We listen for the still, small voice, to the sound of the rain, to the nudge in our guts, and to the silence. St. Thomas Episcopal Church in Birmingham, Alabama, recently added beehives to their campus. And the parishioners were very excited about this project, and almost everyone became involved in the beekeeping ministry. Families would come on Saturday mornings, and the children would play and laugh and go to the playground, and the adults would come and tend the hives, and they would gently to let the bees know that they were coming. In their first year, they had an abundance of honey. They were shocked because apparently when you have hives, it takes a couple of years for them to get used to where they are and to produce the honey. But they had an unusual experience. They had so much honey, they had to go out and buy jars to distribute not only to the members of St. Thomas, but to friends and family. It was astonishing. Based on that ancient tradition of talking to the bees, St. Thomas proved that when bees heard the laughter of children, the whisper of the beekeepers' gentle voices, they responded. Bees get it at the most primitive level. They have a need to hear and to be heard. And when that happens, they respond. They respond with an abundance of honey. And we respond when we are spoken to with gentle voices, when we listen for the God and for the signs that God is alive and awake in this world. When we talk and listen to one another, we humans produce more honey, more love. So we can all take a page out of the beekeeper's notebook.
Good morning. You guys can relax. That's a joke. I'm glad to see you. Glad to be with you. You'll see a number of announcements in the order of worship that I would commend to your attention. And I would simply say good morning and welcome to St. John's. If you are visiting with us, thank you for being here. I know that you probably passed several churches to be here today. So we are glad that you are here. And if you look in the pew back in front of you, there should be a welcome card. if you'd like to identify yourself, drop a little note on that visitor's card in the offering plate, and one of the clergy will follow up with you. I'm pleased to say today after church there will be a short Christmas pageant interest meeting over in the children's wing above the parish hall immediately following church. If you have a child in your home or grandchild, we would invite you over for a brief meeting following. Next Sunday, I would invite you to mark your calendar. We will begin our stewardship campaign. This year's theme is at the corner of abundance and generosity. And next week we will have a special guest, Canon Mary McGregor, who is the retired canon to the ordinary of the Diocese of Texas, will be our guest preacher. So please plan on being here and having a nice Memphis welcome for Mary McGregor. Also, next Sunday on the 29th, we will have a blessing of the pets at 4 o'clock in the courtyard. All pets are welcome. And again, thanks to John and Katie Conrad who have been heading this up. And then this Wednesday, which is September the 25th, and next Wednesday, which is October the 2nd, there is a 2-part security training. This is open to anyone, particularly the ushers of the parish, but open to anyone. And you see that the meeting will be from 5:30 to 8:30. And if you would RSVP to let us know that you're coming, we would be most appreciative. There is no fee to participate. Good stuff happening in the world of music as well. Doctor, what's going on even today?
Good morning, everyone. Today we welcome Luna Nova, the local performing arts organization under the artistic direction of Dr. Patricia Gray. It's a long-standing organization in the area, many decades of offering very fine music to the community, and so we will be hosting them today as part of our Music at St. John's series. It begins at 3 o'clock. It'll last about 1 hour, and many thanks to our very gracious festivities committee for organizing a reception immediately following, so roughly about 4 o'clock. We'll all head over to the hall to enjoy a reception thanks to the festivities committee. 2 weeks from today, we'll have our next service of choral compline. We're still doing them the first Sunday of the month, and I'll say more about this next week, but it's a beautiful service lasting about a half an hour, filled with prayer and music of the Renaissance. And lastly, the choir continues to recruit. So if you or someone you know preferably has some choral or instrumental background and is able to blend and match within a section, we would love to talk to you. So please let me know. You're all very familiar with the music we do, and I think we do a very enriching mix of the foundation of the Anglican choral repertoire. So if you'd like to be a part of that, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. It's wonderful to see everybody here today. Thanks for tuning in today. You've been listening to the Good News from the Corner podcast. St. John's Episcopal Church is located at the corner of Central and Greer in Memphis, Tennessee. Our parish website is www.stjohnsmemphis.org. You can also catch us on all of the normal social media platforms. You can join us for church at 10:30 on Sunday morning on our St. John's Memphis YouTube channel. Share the Good News podcast with somebody. And remember, you matter to God. Your life is not yours alone. Come see us sometime.